that is what some of the best art does.
Yeah.
Is it causes us to have a conversation about it. Not for everybody to go, yeah, I loved it. Me too. Yeah, yeah.
See, okay, this is so wild because I just started going to therapy. Congratulations, you're welcome.
What? Like for the first time ever?
I mean, I did a few sessions with like the on-set therapist they had at Drag Race on All Stars. But I don't know if that really counts as real therapy when she's like, hey, so what about this fake made-up man-made situation is making you sad today that hopefully you'll be able to deal with on your own in the next 9 months when you get home.
Because you're not leaving, actually. You're staying here forever.
Oh my God, legitimately though, that was actually the one thing that was our joke on set, all the queens, because in the beginning we were like, yes, no one's going home. And then like, it became, fucking trapped here. Nobody's going home.
You're like, they lied. They actually lied about this RuPaul's Drag Race thing. It's actually a prison.
I'm still there filming. This is too much. Okay, Ryan.
Congratulations on going to therapy the first. I hope it's been a great session. You like your therapist?
I like her. I just don't think I would have an issue with almost any therapist, and I wonder if that's a problem. Like, we'll see when it starts getting rough, and I'll start talking about my race relationships and my sexual deviances. Like, yeah, I need to stick 8 fists in my mouth at once, otherwise I won't be happy.
Well, and then also the other piece of like, hopefully she hasn't gone and like looked you up and like she knows like how like that you're a public
told
figure.
her to. I was like, bitch, if you're coming
I don't think
in,
they're supposed to.
I told her she needs to get some better background upon why I may want to withhold things. I don't know if she said that she would, but I told her to. I told her to read my book all about Yvie and listen to my podcast, HIGHKEY.
Literally, as I say, bitch, you better be subscribed. I know that's right. Just like everyone else. Shout out to all of the new subscribers from Bob's podcast. That like not from Bob's podcast, but Bob's episode. Like insane. Shout out to that.
Yeah, welcome to my neck of the woods. Y'all got into some weird shit. It's me and Ryan. We sound like the Muppets in this bitch.
No, for real. I was really I think we're such a new show, right? Like that was our 10th episode. Shout out to that. And it was just really nice. I think Bob was like the perfect person to come on and like for us to have a moment of like, grilling him on everything that we wanted to know. And then also like him grilling us. Like I love that energy. And a lot of folks, I guess in the comments were like, I don't like how y'all were trying to humble Bob. I'm like, Bob could never be humbled at all. Like Bob is just like on another level of confidence.
Also, that is literally what drag queen relationships are with each other. Like drag queens are
like,
just another version of really close gay friendship. And when you really love another queer, you drag the shit out of them all the time. You try to humble that bitch.
That's how you know you're really locked in, when you can like start making fun of like folks are like challenging them in like positive ways. And it's just, I don't know. I'm honestly, I'm just happy that everyone enjoyed the episode. Hopefully they're, excited about, everything coming up, because we do have great guests and more drag queens and all the things. Like, I mean, we creating a little party over here for ourselves, which I love.
I hope y'all are ready. I hope you brought chips, because I just have a lot of dip. We have a lot of dip between us.
I was gonna say, now you probably have a little bit more dip.
Oh my God.
Out for a little bit longer than me.
Oh my God. My dip is out in the sun right now. Someone left their dip out in the sun.
Oh my God. Well, we have such a great show coming up today. I'm very, very excited about it. We have an incredible person joining us, right? Yvie, who's coming on the pod today?
We got Lena Waithe coming to join us. So I'm going to go my dip up, and we'll be right back.
So our guest today is an icon. I mean, for sure. She has a podcast called Legacy Talk, but let's be honest, she is the legend. She is an Emmy-winning writer, producer, actor. Y'all probably know her hit show The Chi on Showtime, which just got renewed for their 8th season, which is kind of insane. And then, of course, she's written everything else from, 20s, Queen and Slim. The list goes on and on. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. I'm so excited that she's here on the show. Welcome to HIGHKEY, Lena Waithe.
What's going on?
Good morning, afternoon, evening.
Yes, all three.
I'm so happy that you're able to join the show, seriously, because obviously I think you have a special history with both of us. I mean,
Yvie saw me sitting across a judge's table, which isn't always ideal.
I'm not to make this about me, but
you absolutely can't. You're a Leo. Come on.
I'm curious to see or to hear like how that was from your perspective. Because if I'm being 100% honest, I could not tell you 90% of the people who were judging that season, especially if you did not help me win.
Oh, got it. So you like, Lena, I don't remember you, really?
Yeah, I'm like, you must have said some slick shit about my outfit or something.
I remember it was denim. It was the denim challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah. It was the one. It was, so you came back. Yeah, you came back for our makeover. That's why I don't remember you.
Oh.
So wait, were you okay? Because I remember Lena and I had talked about this, and she was like, "Wait, I think Yvie cried, or maybe." I was like, "Yvie couldn't have cried. Like she won her season. Like I feel like she was slaying it."
Because they was coming at Yvie though.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I was gonna say. Is like that's why I don't remember the judges. I don't remember RuPaul that week. I don't remember my own face.
Gagged.
That week was like just, you came in on one of the spiciest weeks because we had already gotten to like the fake, like, we're all top sisters now. Look, we made it to the end of this shit. We're so fierce.
Right.
We're past all the drama. And then the producers were like, let's have all the old bitches come back into the room and pair up and just stir that pot again. And so like you came in the week where even though I was serving cunt, Scarlett was serving cunt.
Yeah.
All of those bitches saw an opportunity to be like, fuck this weird, ugly bitch.
Wait, what year was that?
2018 when we filmed, 2019 when she aired.
Word. So, Lena, you actually had just did what? The cover of Vanity Fair at that time?
Possibly, yeah.
I think that was right after the Emmys. So you were just experiencing kind of like a next level celebrity of it all.
Whirlwind. But I was like, super grateful to be asked to come be a judge on Drag Race. I mean, that's a definite rite of passage, if you will, a blessing from Big Ru. Because I've been watching for years, I have friends on and whatnot. So it's like a thing. You nervous to judge.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to, because you also got to have jokes. They're like, all right, as we watch it, and some of them they'll write for you, but like I'm a comedy writer, so I have my quick, I
came in with your pen.
Yeah, I was like, let's go. But the tricky thing is, you have no context for what's going on. They don't show you nothing. You just sitting there and you just judging that week. And that's what's really interesting, because I don't know what the relationships are. I don't know what the alliances are. Meanwhile, Michelle, Ru, Ross, they all know what's going on, and you sitting there like first day of school.
Yeah, you're like, well, I liked your hair. And,
yeah,
I'm sorry, she stole it from you. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yes, I had Ryan's hairstyle then.
Yes, you sure did. It was the Denise, the Master of None hairstyle.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I miss your locks so much.
Thank you. You're not alone.
They were so good. And honestly, I remember so much around that time too, because if I'm being honest, that was like one of the first moments that I was also introduced to you during that whole thing. Like I knew of your work, but really like knowing the like historic of you winning the Emmy, and if that was such a historic win. I just felt like if I ever met you, I was like, I would have asked you, well, girl, what was like the first like big celebrity conversation you probably had after that win? Because I know everybody and their mama was trying to text you. Everybody, like you were just entered, you had a new level of like access. I mean, I remember Reese Witherspoon was like obsessed with you at the time. Like
still.
Yeah, it still is.
You're like,
but I just, what do you remember about that time, and how did you celebrate that moment?
It's so interesting. Yeah, because I don't partake in alcohol, so I remember things pretty clearly. And I wasn't even like smoking weed that heavy at the time. So
whoa, so you were like, I know.
Awake. Like clear.
Sober going through that experience is wild.
Right. Helpful.
Yeah.
But I think for me, because, and this may sound odd to people, even though I was dreaming my whole life about being a television writer, hello, a la different world. The Emmy was not like a mountaintop for me. For me, I just really wanted to be considered to be a really great television writer. And I didn't associate that with winning an Emmy. So getting one was really amazing and fantastic and a beautiful journey to do that with Melina and Angela Bassett and Kim Whitley and obviously Aziz and, Alan Yang. Like, it was just a really cool experience. And because it was a first, that's the other thing. Then it was like, oh, so you're the first African-American woman to be nominated in this category.
Yeah.
And because people got it very clear, like Wanda Sykes won for sketch comedy writing, which is a different category. And the first woman of color to be nominated in that category was Mindy Kaling for an episode of The Office. So I became the first African-American woman to be nominated for outstanding writing in a comedy series in that category. So it definitely also kind of hit me with a sense of history in knowing that I'm definitely not the first funny Black woman to be in a writer's room, but I definitely representing all these Black women who have been in writers' rooms. And also my heroes like Susan Fels Hill, Yvette Lee Bowser, Debbie Allen, and so many others that came before me. And it just sort of like really hit me. And so the crazy thing was, when you were first Black to win anything, there's usually a standing ovation that follows. So there was a standing ovation. And in a quarter mile, you can't miss Oprah Winfrey standing up, applauding you for winning an Emmy. So that I always remember seeing, like, her standing up and
you're like, bitch, I made Oprah get out of her fucking seat.
I did. What?
Yes.
And they tell you got 45 seconds. Only one person can talk. Aziz was like, you take the mic, obviously, if it happens. And so, like, I was ready for the moment because I had witnessed a Halle Berry have a moment at the Oscars when I was in high school. And saw her take the moment, honoring Lena Horne and Dorothy Dandridge and, and the people that stood alongside her, obviously Angela Bassett, Jada Pinkett, Vivica Fox. That to me, like, Halle really showed you how to make the moment not just about you, but how to bring everybody with you because nobody gets to those moments alone. And it's a tricky thing about mountaintops is that you enjoy the view for a bit and then you have to descend and find a new mountain to climb.
Oh, that's it. Like, sometimes you don't even really get to descend. It's just people already see that you're on a mountain. They're like, damn, you're just going to forever be on that mountain. Remember that one time you were on that mountain? You're like, yeah, but girl, do you see, like, this is just the base of some whole new shit.
Yeah, this is like the top of Mount Everest yet.
Girl.
You're at base camp.
You got to kill Kilimanjaro this whole thing? Girl, you're just on a rock here. You're like, well, this mountain was the biggest thing I'd ever seen, but that's before I stepped on it. Has there anything you've ever done or achieved that made you feel like a rapper? You were like, yeah, I did this shit on me, baby. Fuck you, fam. Fuck you, fans.
I mean, honestly, it's like a rapper.
That's
which one?
Yes, I love that.
Like my Clips, my Drake, my Kendrick. I think for me, creating the Shy and getting that created by title, that credit, that's something that, coming up under Mara Brock Akil, and Yvette Lee Bowser, Ava DuVernay as well. Gina Prince Bythewood has also created her own shows. Obviously, Debbie Allen. It's like having the created by title meant something really big to me. That's something I think I dreamed about more than winning an award. Because I think it was about, can I create a show that has my stamp, my signature, my voice, my rhythms in it. And so for the Shy, and also I think another big moment happened recently. Like, we had our highest viewed episode this season of season 7. Hello, come on, Paramount Plus.
#1 on the app.
Yes. I mean, I think to me, it's really about that longevity rather than a mountaintop, but rather a marathon. And it's about not being hot for a short time, but being warm for a long time.
And when you think about that too, which is so interesting, like getting to that moment and having your show be a tentpole show for a network and And as a creator, that's like, oh, that's my dream. I want to have a television show. I want to make something and have like my stamp. And then that'll open up having money and access. And that will be the key to my happiness. But is it though? Was it the key to your happiness?
Well, of course not. No. I think where people get tripped up, all of society gets tripped up because we are taught and told and fed that success is the same as happiness.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And so therefore we chase success hoping to be happy. And then when you are successful and you get all your success, you start to think that, well, why am I not happy? And so then the success starts to feel like a trap.
Like a curse almost. Like somebody's like, congratulations. And you're like, shut the fuck up.
Well, the thing is that, you know, what's cool is like, because someone could argue like we have a successful show.
Yeah.
Right? But that has nothing to do with why I'm happy.
Why are you happy?
I'm happy because I meditate every morning. I'm not on social media a ton. I've curated my community around me. I have no issue setting boundaries. I know that I have to take life as it comes. And then I'm going to be both happy and sad. And I should embrace both when they happen.
Oh, that's so legit.
But is that something you learn? I mean, you're 41 now.
Correct.
But is that something that took you time to really learn? Because I am someone that I'm so career minded. I mean, I moved out here. Literally, August is my 10th year of being in LA.
Ooh, come through.
And I have been so reflective of like this moment of like, when I started here, I was 22, had no money. I was sharing a 2-bedroom apartment with 3 people.
Ooh.
And I was living with like rats and like, and had all these things like literally. And I like, imagine that Ryan who was like really trying to figure it out. And then like, it felt like I had my eye on the prize and knew where I was going. And then life was like, actually, we're going to take you this way. And it was just a whole other lesson to like learn. But I felt like, well, I don't have time to rest right now. I got to get to the destination. I got to get to the moment where I do have the money in my bank account where I can help my family. I do have the access level where people respect who Ryan Mitchell is when he walks in a room.
But you know what's interesting about that is like, I actually, like, I knew that was the vibe that I was on when I was young and hungry. I was like, bitch, I'm like, young and hungry. I've got my whole life ahead of me. I know that I could do anything. And so like, I just want to like prove to myself that I'm capable of greatness. And I know that someday I'm going to be looking back at this like, damn, look how tight your skin was.
I had to learn that. I mean, I'm being quite honest. Like, I have for sure like worked out of that. Like, I have learned that overworking yourself is really just someone like draining you of all of the goodness that is within you. And they will allow you to overwork yourself if you let them. But I've had to learn that. And so I wonder for you, Lena, how long did it actually take you to really come to this moment where you've learned, like, I don't have to be working 24/7 or I have to be on this train that is like, go, 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 go?
Well, you know, it's interesting because I work. It's interesting. I don't know. Like, I work a nice amount. Like even like right now, I'm working on season 8 and Legacy Talk, the second season of that. And technically, I don't get paid to do Legacy Talk. Like I fund that. Like you know, so that's something that I want to put out in the world. And so the payment, the dividends in that are people saying, "Hey, I learned something from that Tisha Campbell episode," or "I learned something from watching that episode," you know, with Debbie Allen. That's the capital. Someone getting something out of it. The Shy actually pays me in capital, but also pays me in people saying, people say like, yo, this really moved me, or this episode made me do this or do that. That's really beautiful. I'm doing a play that nobody paid me to write, but it's the most exhilarating thing I've ever done. And I'm going to be performing it next year in Baltimore Center Stage, February 12th through March 28th. Mark your calendars. Come and see us. Trinity, directed by Stevie Walker-Webb. And so the thing is I'm working a nice amount. But out of those 3 things, I'm only getting paid to do one of those things, technically.
Yeah.
So I think that
feels like the creator's journey anyway. Like
so it's about like, but I'm being fed by Legacy Talk. I'm being fed by the play, and I'm being fed literally and figuratively by the Shy. So it's not about not being overworked, because the truth is, I think to be really, it's interesting because the word successful can be trippy, but to me, in terms of to be at the top of your game in any arena, you have to be possessed.
Yeah.
So it's not about if it's like, oh man, like I'm tired, I want to go to bed right now, or I want to go kick it. You know what? I'm not. Because even somebody can use the word disciplined, possessed, really locked in. Because those that, because if you value rest, that's cool. You know, it's like if someone is saying, hey, I'm gonna go the extra mile, and someone may say, I'm going to rest a bit. Both are right. But I think what can happen is if you say, hey, I chose rest over going the extra mile, then I can't resent the person for getting where they got a little bit sooner than me because they made a different choice.
That's something actually I was literally thinking about yesterday, because I keep going back to this interview that Jennifer Coolidge did last year where she was like, yeah, I got tired after a while and I just decided to take a break, but I kind of regret that because, you know, if life ever gives you a wave to ride, you should ride on it. And that's why I'm doing this weird car insurance commercial or whatever right now.
Great impersonation, by the way. Great.
Thank you. If I ever want to go through the horrors of Snatch Game, I'll have her in my wig.
Come through. That's a good one. She's always good.
She is. But like, I actually hold space and respect and value that mindset of like, damn, you have to realize that, like Eminem said, you only got one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. Mom spaghetti.
Come through. I love that song. Academy Award winning. Barbara Streisand would have given it to him, but he didn't show up. But I remember watching Barbara Streisand say, and the winner is Eminem for 8 Mile. And he's not here. I'm going to accept this award on his behalf. But I also say too, Ryan, in terms of you talking about when you first were out, you know, in LA, 10-year anniversary. I was celebrating 20 next February, 20 years out here. But the thing is, like, who I was when I first came to LA is its own chapter.
Oh, for sure.
You know, and so it's not about like, oh, how did you get to here? I got to here from every step that came before it. And, you know, I did a silent retreat. I did Vipassana, 10 days of observing noble silence, meditating 4 hours a day, fasting, like, you know, and not like all this. You eat a meal, but it's like you're not eating as much as one normally would if on my daily life. But I think what that does is it kind of you're sort of living like a monk for 10 days. So it kind of takes the ego away and takes away like you just sort of what you're used to doing all the time. And I didn't do that until I had just turned 40. So because I think I was sort of ready to do that, then I did it again this year. And I was inside a silent retreat when I turned 41. And also I think a really big thing is I don't check my phone first thing in the morning. I can't check it until after I've meditated.
Interesting.
So it's like, well, if I want to talk to on my phone, I gotta meditate. I treat meditation like brushing my teeth or like washing my face. Is something that is a part of my daily routine, but it changes the dynamic of the way I walk through the world because I don't prioritize the world before I prioritize myself. And I think 90% of people wake up in the morning and immediately check their phone. And so what you're saying to the universe is, where are my priorities? The phone is the priority, not me.
Well, do you miss, because I mean, Lena, you are someone who everyone has something to say about. Like, let's just be quite honest, right? Whether it's your work or whether it's you. Was that a part of the reason why you decided to like kind of leave social? Because you're on social, but it seems like you're not like on it, like in the ways that you were used to be.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting because in terms of everyone having something to say or everyone having an opinion, the interesting thing is it doesn't affect either party. So a person's opinion of me doesn't affect my daily life, but also their opinion of me doesn't affect their daily life either. So it's a matter of, okay, how is this playing a role in my life?
Mm.
And it doesn't. It can't. I mean, I could allow it, but I don't know what I have to gain.
Are there not positives to hearing what, I guess, an audience that you're catering to, or not even catering to, but the audience that you're making the art for, that is going to gravitate to your art
that's
regardless?
consuming it at bare minimum.
Consuming it, right? Is there a positive to listening to what they have to say about it, so that can inform your next works, or like how you tell a story that may represent them, or like hit home, or like how do you take in, what's the process of you taking in feedback in that way?
Well, I think for artists or creatives, we are in conversation with ourselves.
Mm.
That is just a complete sentence.
Yeah. No, that's the whole episode, honestly. Yeah. Close this shit down. We did it. Happy HIGHKEY.
So it's sort of like, I try to think of an example. I mean, I'll use like Miseducation Lauryn Hill, for example. Very pivotal album in my youth. I don't know if she had the audience in mind. And I think because of that, it is a timeless piece of work. And so I don't believe in catering to an audience. Because then I'm in service to the audience rather than service to myself or to a higher spirit or higher power. So now, mind you, am I aware of, like, say, hey, conversation or what's happening? To me, whatever the conversation is about the work is actually an education for me about where society sits in this moment.
Oh, okay. You have me now, because like I think there is this beauty in just being able to create for your sake. But like just to be real about it, like when we're making art at least at the levels we are, this shit is also paying your bills. This shit is also like opening or closing your opportunities to make more art. So like, I don't know. I just feel like there has to be a better way to like find some balance in it, like it's important for me at least to know like how people are receiving what I'm doing, because art is a social commentary, and because our culture is a social commentary on art.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally.
I mean, because if you look at certain, films, like I'll take Rocky Horror Picture Show, for example.
Mm-hmm.
When that movie first comes out, it is not beloved.
Yeah.
It is not necessarily understood.
Mm-hmm.
But then you fast forward and we see what it becomes, because a new generation grabs hold of it and says, well, actually, this means something else to me. And then it becomes like, Susan Sarandon talks about the midnight screenings and people going in and singing the songs and finding identity in it. And so I think art it doesn't change based on people's opinions.
Yeah.
It is what it is. You can't change it. There's no going back and saying, hey, let me make this nicer for you. And so also what you got to remember too about artists, by the time I'm making my next thing, like the other thing hasn't even come out yet. So I'm just making work that speaks to me. Like the play, nobody paid me to do that. I have to make sure I feel good about it, and my trusted confidants or people who I value their work, I say, hey, what do you think? When Debbie Allen reads it, it sends me a note. It says, hey, I really enjoyed this. Okay, got it. Thank you. Yeah. And so it almost means that if somebody walks out and says, I loved it, if somebody walks out and says, I hate it, they both are correct. They both are right. And so that to me is somebody said, like, well, why did you hate it? Oh, I hate it because it was this, or it triggered me, or it was slow. Why did you love it? Because it was slow and because it triggered me.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't. I really encourage artists to making work is to be in conversation with yourself and then let the work be in conversation with society. Because once you give it to society, it no longer belongs to you, but they also can't tell you necessarily what it is. They can just tell you what they brought to it.
Okay, I'm curious then, and I'm sorry to take it this left then, but like, how much space do you think artists should hold for, in general, critique or feedback outside of the areas that feel comfortable?
Well, especially when you got like the approval of Steven Spielberg when you came. You know what I mean? Like you were in the So I've always wondered that too, Yvie. Great point. How do you? How have you balanced that?
Approval is a word I wouldn't necessarily use. He saw my tape. His amazing cast of directors, I think, also pushed for me a little bit. I'm not taking credit away from Mr. Spielberg at all, but I did the callback. They was helping me out, and again, he wasn't in the room when I auditioned. Thank God.
Yeah.
But he saw something in me and wanted to give me an opportunity to be in my first film, and I'm grateful for that. I don't know if he necessarily approved of me.
Yeah, I feel like approve is not like the word.
Yeah, okay.
I think
but I'm words mean a lot, so I always be thoughtful of it. But
yeah.
But the thing is, here's the thing. There's this old quote from like Donald Glover. It was a GQ, and I don't want to paraphrase it, but it was like I was still living in Chicago at the time, so it was a while ago, obviously. But he said, I don't want to be the guy that everybody likes.
Yeah.
And I remember like reading that and not really being able to digest it, but obviously remembering it. And I think there's something to, you should actually be nervous if everybody likes something. And so for me, as a writer, there's a rule of thumb. You can't have a scene if both people agree.
Yeah.
There's no scene.
Yeah.
And so for me, there's this interesting thing I've noticed and I've picked up on where people kind of go, oh, well, how do you feel with the criticism or the scrutiny or whatever? And I always say, well, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Right.
Because then it's not to say that, oh, I don't believe praise, but if everyone's doing it, then there's a fear to speak about what is true.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So and because nothing is perfect. Even the most amazing movie, somebody can point things out.
Absolutely.
And so at the end of the day, I don't need everybody to love everything I do. I need to love it.
Oh.
Yeah.
If I love it, then I want to hear the dialogue. I want to hear the conversation around the work. And because to me, that is what some of the best art does.
Yeah.
Is it causes us to have a conversation about it. Not for everybody to go, yeah, I loved it. Me too. Yeah. I don't want to get into a place of, nah, it's perfect. I don't want to hear nothing. It's more about, oh, okay, I didn't see that. Oh, okay, fair. And not to say, why must we always look for what's wrong, but rather, what are we bringing to it? Like whenever people, and Ryan, I'm sure you probably asked me this or someone's asked me in the junket, and I get the question a lot is, what do you want people to take away from this movie or from this show or from this thing?
I want you to take away whatever you take away and let's fight about it.
That's an answer as well. But to me, I always say, they're going to take away whatever they bring to it.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't get a say. I have no control. Because if somebody starts going this whole long diatribe about what they want people to take away from the work, then I don't know how pure that exchange is going to be.
Yeah, and it's so interesting, especially when you think about the art that everyone is like wanting more in the world, and when you intersect that with representation and seeing less and less of our stories being told when it comes to like queer media and queer storytelling specifically. I find that the transition for you, or the next step into like theater, is so interesting, and I wondered, what is theater giving you that Hollywood isn't right now?
There's a lot of freedom. There are no walls. There's no box. And then the thing about a theater space is like whipping your phone out is like lighting a cigarette on an airplane.
Word. Interesting. That's so interesting. I never thought about it like that. Yeah.
I mean, literally when, obviously I was going to a bunch of shows this Broadway season, past Broadway season. And so every now and then, because there are, you know, ushers and these are amazing people that work at these theaters. And when someone pulls a phone out, there's a flashlight they hit you with immediately.
Yeah.
Whether you texting, obviously you're not supposed to be taking pictures or whatever, but and the thing is, it's meant to obviously not to disturb the performers or the audience members, but it's like the most embarrassing thing. You never want the flashlight to hit you. You know, it's like
it's like a public shaming of some sorts.
Absolutely. It's like, put the phone away. And so what's interesting about that is, and obviously I have a television show that airs, and so I'm competing with everybody's phone,
Attention
you know, because
spans.
you're sitting at home, you know, and so what's great about, you know, whether I see a one-act play or a musical with an intermission, we are present, like in that moment, with the performers, with ourselves, with the audience. And when you leave, there's a reason why most folks have plans to go to have dinner after a show, dinner and a show, you know, and so, and it's because you want to discuss what you just experienced, even more so than saying watched.
I think it's just really interesting, and I'm excited to see your show on in this kind of new journey of you in the theater space, because I do think it's always important to spread your wings and spread your art and spread your abilities to like go from the screen to the stage, and like especially I feel like theater is a space really where Black queer folks can shine, and I think. We've seen that more and more over the years, and it's not always been that way, of course, but I do think there's more of a space. And I want to talk a little bit about Legacy Talk as we're kind of wrapping up.
Let's do it.
Because I know it's in its second season. It just wrapped. Very, very excited about it. Who's on your Mount Rushmore of legends?
I mean, well, you know, this season we talked to, obviously, Tisha Campbell. That episode is available right now.
Oh, it's so good, by the way.
Well, thank you so much. I don't know if I'm giving anything away out of my team. What? Taraji is our second episode.
Make up one then. Who's on your Mount?
But I'm saying, like, you know, this season we have a lot of great, like Taraji B. Henson, Ava DuVernay, Felicia Rashad. You know, so we have a lot of really, but also like Kim Whitley, you know, pulled up this season. Loretta Devine, like people that some folks, you know, might not. You don't normally see them sit down and have conversations. Tisha Campbell's one of those people too. I think to me, what's cool about Legacy Talk is that we only talk about, as if people have seen it, if they have, you know, that we really just talk about the career. It's very influenced by, you know, Inside the Actors Studio, and in terms of speaking about certain roles, how those roles came to them, why they made certain decisions. And because, you know, a big thing to me was, I remember talking to Jada in season 1, I was so curious how much of her career was crafted by her, how much of it was sort of crafted by God. Because for her to be where she was at that time, you know, like a cat in a hot tin roof, ready to go, it's like Debbie Allen sees her and is like, yes, come be on a different world. And obviously the Hughes brothers, I'll say, yeah, come be a menace to society. And F. Gary Gray is like, come be and set it off. And so I know she's like, well, you know, but those movies and those directors at that time we're like, oh, you're what we need for this thing. And I think, you know, the fact that she revealed to us that Rosie Perez originally was supposed to be in Low Down Dirty Shame, you know, and then something happened with scheduling, and obviously Keenen was like, oh, well, Jada can do it. And so I think that to me is really interesting, because the journey is, we don't really have a ton of control over. We have control over how we're willing to lean in. But it's about when those opportunities come, how much are we willing to step up and say, I don't care what's going on in my life. I'm going to rise to the occasion and do this because this is my destiny. So there are some people, that's the thing about Legacy Talk. I mean, a lot of these people are like, you know, they're not elders, if you will. They're still aunts, you know, some of them. But it's like, it's important to document these conversations, because the conversation that was also very much inspired this was the conversation between Nikki Giovanni and James Baldwin. And that... Nikki is very young. I mean, she's in her like 20s, and she asked Ellis Hazlitt, queer Black man who had a show called Soul! Really beautiful documentary about his life. He was cool with all the young poets, and he was talking to Nikki Giovanni, and he said, "Who do you want to talk to?" She was like, "Jimmy Baldwin," and she was like, "I'm cool with him. I can make it happen. He lives in London. We'll fly you out." And so they did, and that I stumbled upon that conversation on YouTube after we had just wrapped Queen and Slim. And so it was almost this interesting gift, because I was like, damn, I wish I would have seen this while I was, because it's the whole thing. Goodness, it was almost a conversation between men and women and this whole thing. But in essence, I think God brought it to me after to say, you are a part of this lineage too. This is about a dialogue between two people who may not always see things exactly the same way, but yet can still meet somewhere in the middle and still find peace.
And also it's interesting, like getting there at a specific point, because, you never know if what you had to say would have been influenced differently. I think about the fact that when we were taping season 11, season 10 was airing, and all we wanted to do so badly whenever we got out of the workroom after throwing our pussies on the ground and screaming at each other was see what the other bitches were doing the year before. And they tried their hardest to make sure that we couldn't. And I think it actually makes sense, because that way you can like lock in with your own perspectives. And then you go back later and you're like, oh my God, it's so trippy to see that I was continuing these conversations, that these people had a different perspective than me. It's like, it's how you get some whole rich, real shit.
And I have been in so many spaces, especially being like sometimes the only Black queer person in a space where you bring up like our legends' names in these white spaces, and they have no clue.
Oh, yeah.
And so for you to be a part of making sure those legacies don't stop and those stories don't stop and the history doesn't stop is so valuable and so important. Because I've had to be in spaces where I've had to know who Sarah Jessica Parker was, and I also have to know who Tisha Campbell is,
Our stories are not required viewing.
Oh, work.
For everybody.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So we have to watch The Godfather. We have to watch The Sopranos. We have to watch Mad Men.
Breaking Bad.
Yeah. They don't have to watch Power, Baby Boy, you know what I'm saying, or Menace to Society.
See, I've got a white husband, and the first like 3 or 4 years of our relationship was him being like, how do you not know Led Zeppelin? And me being like,
well, now mind you, there's some Black folks that are fans of Led Zeppelin, but it's like when you can come back and say, how do you not Jodeci? How do you not know Jodeci?
Yvie, do you want to ask Lena our staple question on High Key, everybody that we have?
Yeah. Okay. So we've talked in a lot of ways about like things you're into, things that bring you joy, but I have to ask just generally right now, what are you high key about? Like what is got you high key? It could be something, an object, an experience, a thought.
Life.
Like, what are you high key about?
Anything.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to. It doesn't even have to be a positive.
Oh, okay.
It can be anything.
Just like what is on your mind? What are you high key about right now?
That's a good question. What am I high key about? High key about theater for sure. All of its forms. Regional theater, Broadway theater. And I think I'm high key about meditation for sure. For sure. Meditation. Like I do. Here's the deal. And some people may feel like this is an extreme amount. And I don't encourage people to start this way. I have to work my way up. But I meditate for an hour every morning.
Okay, so what does that mean? What does that mean? You're just sitting there for an hour?
Yeah, sitting quietly.
In one space, you're not moving?
Yeah, no, you don't move.
Does it still count as meditation if you've got jazz on in the background?
It can count as whatever you choose. I think, because I don't think there's any, I don't believe in rules for meditation. You meditate however you need to do it. But I think for me, because the mission is to hear myself, quiet is important for me. And the thing that sort of happened is a person will come up, a person will cross my mind or my spirit, and I'll remember that because it usually happens in the first 30 minutes. And so that when my alarm goes off after the hour, I turn my phone on, I'll then often text or reach out to them, hey, you came up for me this morning in my meditation. And it's happened about 90% of the time. They'll say, oh my God, I was thinking of you yesterday. Or are your ears ringing? Like I mentioned you this morning.
Yeah.
And I always say, oh, I just wanted to hit you. And they're like, okay, well, thank you. And how are you? I'm like, I'm well. How are you? And so for me, whenever that happens, I always say, oh, it's okay. We're tapped in. And so I think we live in a world full of noise, so we can't hear our own voices.
So no jazz.
No jazz for me. It doesn't mean you can't do it. Because jazz is cool because it's not lyrics often, so that way you can still hear yourself. But to me, I think what I found when I was observing Noble Silence for 10 days, you realize how much we are distracting ourselves from ourselves.
Well, I just want to say, like, I love that mindset, and that, like, you really should be surrounded in silence so that you can focus on yourself. And you are clearly so fucking privileged for being able to be in a silent place anywhere on this planet. This is a loud ass planet. What the fuck are you talking about? That's what the jazz is for.
Here's another thing. It doesn't have to be quiet for you to get quiet.
Oh, work. Work.
There have been times where I've had to meditate in places that are not my home, in places where I don't have control over the environment. And those are often the best meditative hours.
Wow.
Because even though I can't make the world slow down in order for me to. I can't make the world get quiet in order for me to. Then I'll be waiting forever. So even if there's music playing or someone's talking, what it does is it reminds me that it's okay for that to be happening.
Yeah.
And for me to have mind over matter, and for me to get quiet.
Yeah.
Because if everybody's yelling around me, it's okay for me to be quiet. Because even if you see, like you say, like on social media, right? Like everybody will say, "Oh, this person we coming after today." To me, it's sort of like I'm looking at the group of people coming after the one, not the person they coming after. Because I like to scrutinize scrutiny.
Ooh.
And so to me, it's like, what is everybody doing? And then not to be a contrarian, but rather to be an observer.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so you say, oh, this is a desire for people to belong to something, even if it's something that isn't kind. They'd rather belong to something that isn't grace or kind or warm than to feel as if they are on the outside. And that to me is educational. So it's like, oh, you'd rather be a part of the mob than be chased by one. I'd rather be chased.
That's why it's interesting that you pulled off of being as tied to social media, because like that's all I see when I get on now. Either like people just enacting this mob behavior, not even always in such a negative way. It's like still the mob behavior when everyone's like, oh my God, this pop star is the most important thing in the world right now. Or like this song or like this moment is like the most important thing and we have to love it.
It's a desire to belong. It's a desire to belong. And so then what happens is then it's like, what is everyone's taste actually? What does everybody actually like for real? Or are you just sort of being told that you're supposed to? Right. And so, and then hive mind taste, again, goes back to, should we be nervous if everybody likes it?
Right.
But so that's why it's like, I'm over here saying like, you know, hate it or love it. Don't just go with the crowd. You know what I mean? Because then it's like, you ain't gonna really stick.
That's why I love the phrase, touch grass. Because I think everybody needs to touch grass at least once or twice a day. Lena Waithe.
I think they do more than just touch grass. Smoke some and get quiet.
Touch grass.
Thank you for being on HIGHKEY.
Thank y'all.
HIGHKEY.
Welcome back. Okay. For real though, I actually loved that chat. Lena was way more chill daddy top dyke vibes than I was like expecting. She could have bust this open. She is gonna get me to meditate. Maybe someday. Are you? Would you meditate? Are you a meditator?
I've tried it. It doesn't necessarily really work for me, and I've really have tried. I have friends who meditate. I'm all about doing like other things, like breathing exercises. Like that's been something that I've been taught through therapy, or like going to like those little sound bath like groups before. I've done that before with my white friends.
Okay. Okay, good.
But I'm like I'm not really necessarily a meditator, and I feel like maybe I should, because Lena's perspective like on life and how she just doesn't like low-key give a fuck about what people have to say about her or her art. It's really low-key inspiring. And I'm like, I feel like I just sent you a voice message about teach me how not to give a fuck. Because it's a constant thing that I'm figuring out.
Bitch, teach me, girl. Like that's the thing is, I think, okay. My favorite thing about that interview is I believe how deeply Lena like is brought peace by meditating every day. I still want to see the moment when she cracks though. I know like we all moments where like the piece isn't there and you're like, oh wait, that's right. I am still just like this flesh and blood and like carnal instinct and natural, like whatever Darwinism genes.
I always wonder, especially around wellness talk, I always wonder how much is it of it like does it turn into a performance? Like it sometimes doesn't feel genuine to me. And I'm not saying her journey of like, you know, wellness and silence and meditation isn't genuine, because I think it genuinely is. But I've just been in so many wellness spaces where I think I've seen them being like weaponized, and I've seen them like be sort of performative, where it starts to blur into like this like toxic like niceness or toxic, you know, positivity. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm not into it. I don't think I really get it. Like the first time I met you, and like the first thing you said was, oh, I sunbathed my asshole. And I thought, oh my God, here's another wellness girly. She about to get us meditating and shit.
Well, that was a joke, Ryan, because the sun can't reach my hole through the forest. But I do be trying, though.
I feel like you can. It most definitely can reach the places that it can't reach.
It definitely does. That's like the part of having a no-ass body is like, you know, I bend over and literally my insides come out. And I know that's like a really harsh way to put it, but
it is.
That's legit like my crux in life, because people are like, wow, that's a bottom, and I'm just going to stick my finger in that thing. Like that was my first experience at the gay club. And it's not my fault that my hole is presenting herself like she's ready.
I was about to say, she's on French. She is the Beyonce to your Destiny's Child.
I think we should get into some real tea. What are the real high keys? What is the highest key for you this week, bitch?
Oh, the highest key for me has to be what I think everyone is talking about. Shout out to the Las Culturistas, you know, awards that Bowen Yang and Matt Rogers put on Bravo. They've obviously been doing it. It's a comedy awards show, because I couldn't believe some people weren't getting the joke when they made the nominations, and people were like, what is this? And like, there was a journalist that was trying to drag them because they put a content creator in the like journalism category. And it was like, girl, it's a joke. Like, fucking be for real. But I love the specific moment from the awards show with Ben Platt singing Diet Pepsi through like an orchestra. And it has been like all over the internet. I love some Ben Platt. I think a lot of people have opinions about him. However, you cannot say he is not a vocalist, and that white boy can sing, even though he be looking old as hell in that Dear Evan Hansen movie. But he is incredible. He's one of the best like Broadway stage performers and singers of our generation. And he just like made that song his. Like he literally Kelly Clarkson the fuck out of that Addison Rae song. So ooh. I'm high-key obsessed with it. I'm
sad. Okay, well now I have to go and watch that immediately, super late, because the only thing I ever think about when I think of Ben Platt, the 10 seconds I remember interacting with him somewhere in Drag Race world and being like, oh, you've got a boyfriend? Great.
Yes, who is his boyfriend? I think it's Noah. I think they're still dating.
Yeah. I think I haven't
think they're
checked
actually
recently.
engaged. I think they're like full on like.
Oh, great!
You know,
great.
First of all, you have all the partners. I need one still.
You can borrow some, girl. Like I'm not a full-time lover. I only love one person all the time, and that is Jesus. Okay, no.
What are you high-key about?
Okay, aside from Jesus and every man ever, I am so high-key about horror. And I know that is such a broad high-key, but I just went and saw 2 different horror movies in the last 2 days. I saw Together. The one I saw was Weapons. And
everyone has been talking about Weapons.
I just think in general, both of them make such a beautiful statement about what horror is giving people right now. Because right now, I feel like horror is the only genre where you can tell whatever story you want and move whatever way you want. Like the last couple of horror movies I've seen have really started out as a horror movie, but were like a buddy rom-com or like a deep love story or like they just have gotten so smart with the fact that people obviously want the idea of scared to face their truths. Like all the best movies of this year have been horror movies. 28 Years Later, Sinners, like Together, and now like Weapons. I think horror's she's doing her. These aren't all Oscar nominated. You guys can personally suck my dick.
I think Sinners for sure will probably be a part of that. But I also don't feel like Sinners was that like as scary. When I think about it now, I don't necessarily feel like it's a horror film. But I guess it is, maybe.
That's exactly it. Is like everything has to be billed as a horror film now to get bitches into the audience seats. They are over Marvel. They don't want to like the newest superhero movie. Those numbers were really cute in their box office opening weekends this year, and then just like dipped. But they will see something where they're like, ooh, maybe it's going to be scary. And then they leave the theater being like, I never knew I needed love like that.
We still need to do like a movie watch night of like all these like scary movies. Because I can't do it with anyone else except for you. I feel like you're low-key like the queen of horror in a lot of different ways. Like that's just your shit. And
Take that, Boulez.
As I say, I don't drag them. But no, I want to see. I would see Weapons, even though Weapons looks so scary. Oh my god, it looks so scary.
Yeah, it was a little scary. It was, but then it turned funny and cute and like tasteful. Everything has been tasteful. We're gonna do some tasteful horror night together.
I would love that. But you know what's not scary though? Making sure you're fucking like commenting and reviewing this podcast. We need it. Actually, that might be scary if you have social anxiety and you don't want to leave comments or reviews, which I'm sending love to you. But I need everyone else to make sure that they are like supporting the pod. We are so new and we're growing, and we're getting great responses. Shout out to the community we're creating. I mean, please subscribe to us on the Apple Podcasts. Like, do all the reviews because we want 5-star ratings, please. You know, it would be great if we could get to 50
what you think
reviews.
and tell us what you think of our voices. Just use the one word that comes to your head first.
Someone described my voice as a synthesizer mixed with like a Gilbert Gottfried. I'm like, I get it. You hate my voice. First of all, that's always been my thing. Everyone has hated my voice since I've like entered into broadcasting, but I think it's what makes me special. I can't help it.
Not everybody. I will say, literally after every episode, I get a little bit jealous because my husband's like, I listened to your new show. And he's like, I love Ryan's voice. And he strips and starts like playing with his nipples and tweaking himself. I'm like, this is too much. I want a divorce. And then he's like, and also I love you too, baby.
I had no clue I was coming between a happy home.
You're coming lots of places, girl. Okay, stop it. I'm not getting divorced.
Okay, so I think that's our show, right? That was great. I love today's show.
Oh, yes. But if you want to hear more tea, make sure to subscribe to our Patreon, HIGHKEY here, because I've got more shit to talk about the yard sale. People think I'm quitting drag.
I know, and like it's so interesting how that like took fire and spread all over the Drag Race Reddits and let all the people in the comments. Like, we got to talk about it all, especially some of the things that I feel like we didn't get to bring up with Bob. And even Lena. So head over to the Afties.
Head over to the Afties. Oh, especially because next week is my birthday, and I hear we've got a surprise. Like, I legit don't know what it is.
I know, I'm very excited. It's your birthday. You know, y'all, I still cannot believe that we're doing a show with an August Leo and a July Leo. Like, this is just blowing my mind. And I feel like it's my karma for how much shit I've talked about August Leos. So
you're gonna love me.
I already do. You're literally changing my perception of August Leos, and I will no longer call them Temu Virgos. I will no longer do it.
Oh, okay. Well, I will no longer cry about that after today. Until next week, stay messy, suck my dick. I mean, stay obsessed, suck my dick. Stay high key.
Please, Yvie. Decorum.
Suck my decorum.